Fallout is definitely gonna go down as one of the best video game adaptations in gaming or cinema history, because I gotta say, they cooked, not even kinda, they cooked with this episode. Because first off, we get so much information about pre-war, and there was a whole bunch of people in my shorts and TikTok talking about how they're killing the lore and they're rewriting stuff, and this kind of fixes a lot of the things, and it shows that they respect their fans. But overall, I think episode 5 is going to go down as one of the best episodes of Fallout television, because we get hints and stuff, and it's just perfect, and I will explain. But either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna have timestamps down all below, so skip to whatever part you want. Also, this was almost a 1-minute intro. I'm so sorry. Also, there will be spoilers. Spoilers are going to be spoiled. But we are going to start with Norm, and Norm is controlling the group. He's vibing with the group, and we meet that guy and this guy, and he's going to be known as the biggest op ever because, well, first off, it's confirmed that he's the biggest op ever, and you know what, man? All I gotta say is haters are gonna hate. But then we cut back to the Vault Tech building, and the group has made it to the Vault Tech building, and this is actually the Vault Tech building from the past, and Norm's kind of shook. I'd be shook too. First time seeing a building, by the way. Also, there's people dead in the lobby for some reason. That doesn't really make sense to me. But one of the things that is interesting is that this person right here, who's like Barbara, I think they call her some random name, and it's just like, she didn't make it into the vault, and they called her a kiss ass, but everyone here would be considered a kiss ass. I don't know what the criteria is. I'm hoping we figure it out. But they hear some noise in the back room or whatever this is called, and this guy picks up a fan, and I just find it super hilarious because it's completely useless, but like you pick up random stuff in the wasteland all the time and in other RPG games. But you meet these two again, and they're from Philly, and Norm has to sit down because she's like, yo, I met your... She basically gives Norm a rundown of season 1 and says like, hey, yeah, this is what happened. Shady Sands blown up, and you need to go home, bro. You need to just go home. You don't need to be here anymore. Go home right now. And he's like, nah, I'm not really going home. That's not gonna happen. And they proceed to tell them, hey, look, fine, it is what it is. Here's some resources. If you need some, take them. And then they proceed to go back into like the communication building, and this guy is trying to somehow contact investors, and I'm like, why would there be investors? Everyone seems pretty dead. But overall, Norm talks with this person. She's having like a moment, and she's like, it's only been a week. Life's kind of messed up right now. I didn't sign up for this. And you know what? I believe that. But Norm gets some information out of her from Barbara, about Barbara, and we have Mr. Hater over here just spying on her, and it's just crazy. But then we get some information on the forced evolutionary virus, and I gotta say, I have no idea what this is. No clue. But we're gonna figure that out. I'm gonna do a very intensive research on it. But bro seems pretty mad about Norm screwing up the plan. I would be too, but you know what? Like, Norm is in big trouble. The guy ends up strangling him, and he does it in a very bad way because he chokes out Norm, but then Norm takes a breath at the end. So Norm isn't dead. I think he's not dead. If he's dead, I'd be kind of mad, so hopefully that's not the case. Originally, I didn't really like this plotline. It was kind of, I liked when Norm was in the vault, and then we got to the end, and then it got kind of interesting. But like, it seems like in the future we're backtracking the past because the past has more information than the future, and that's really interesting to me. So overall, really enjoying this plotline. Is Norm dead? I'm pretty sure he's not. Also, why does that guy think there's going to be investors? I will be making another YouTube video, probably 2 videos a week, sort of detailing my questions that I have for the show, and that's pretty much it. So we'll move on to the next plot line.
Emotional, damn it.
Moving on to the Ghoul and Lucy. Our boy Cooper is just always catching some heat, bro. Not 1, but 2, 3, not even 3, but 4 death claws, man. It's not looking good for them. They're surrounded, and it's I don't know, man. It's not looking good, and Lucy only cares about drugs right now, so that's terrible. But they're looking for a way out, and the ghoul is losing his shit. But Dogmeat ends up coming clutch and finding a way out in a crevice. They take it, they proceed to the free side, the livable side of Las Vegas, and it turns out this is where a lot of vaults are. Lucy's like, hey, what's going on here? And the ghoul proceeds to tell his life story, surprisingly. This is the first time we really see the ghoul open up, and I really enjoyed that, because the ghoul has been this conservative, kept on a leash character because he doesn't want to really express himself because of who he has become. And he opens up. He tells them that he's been searching vaults and that Lucy is we're finally at the right vault, apparently, or he's checking the Vegas vault. And Lucy, all she cares about is scoring drugs, so she doesn't care. The ghoul is like, you need to go get a detox. Here's some money, go get something. I'm gonna go get drunk. And yeah, it's a flashback moment, but we'll get to that later. Overall, she ends up at Sunny's Sundries, and for the most part, everything is just mad expensive. We have no money. Well, Lucy has no money. And you know what we do when we have no money? You just steal it. Go through the back entrance and steal it. Simple. And Lucy is contemplating this, but you know what? She does it. She goes through the back entrance. She enters, and she proceeds to look through a whole bunch of things that have been mysteriously adjusted in price. Turns out this guy has infiltrated the place. He came in naked, killed the guy, and Lucy sees him with the stuff that doesn't fit him because the guy's like super small and he's like super fat, and he's like, bro, did you kill this guy? And she's like, yeah. But he ends up taking a look at a few weapons on the wall, and Lucy's like, hey, look, I'm gonna have to shoot you. Do not don't try to kill me, don't shoot me, just let me go. And he shoots her. He tries, at least. And one of the more interesting things I love about the Fallout TV show is that they make nods to the game. Cut the music. Hold on. So in the video games of usually RPGs, I think in Fallout 4, you are confronted with your like homicidal maniac tendency to like kill everything in sight. And Lucy is now being confronted with that by a person. She's like, who are you? Why are you just murdering people? Not essential. She doesn't say all that, but that's sort of what happens, and I think it's like a nod to the game. Personally, I really liked it. Overall, Lucy is detoxing and she's doing her thing, and then we proceed to meet up with the ghoul, who is in his apartment that he went, or the bar, or whatever, I don't know what it's called. But he makes a deal with Hank because Hank sent a person who he took over, because Hank has now gotten the technology to work, to take Lucy back to her vault, because it turns out that Coop's family is now in the vault that Hank is in, and Hank threatens to kill them, and it really tears up Coop, because they have like a love-hate relationship. Lucy kind of thinks they're getting along. Coop decides to like shoot her with like a tranq dart, and she's just like all over the place, falling over. It's kind of a sad moment because you realize that Coop is sort of kind of invested into the relationship, but it's his family. He's been looking everywhere for his family, and he finally has them. And Lucy gets knocked out. As you can see here, she's knocked out. It's over. But then she musters up a little bit of strength. I don't know how. I don't know if it's lucidity. I don't remember what it's word. But she ends up taking the power gauntlet and punching the ghoul out the window, as you'll see just now. And the ghoul is impaled on a light post, and I'm pretty sure he's alive. But it turns out Hank was nearby. She ends up being sedated a little bit further. She falls asleep unconscious, and Hank wakes her up. We don't know how long it's been, but maybe he was nearby. Maybe it's been a couple of hours. He wakes her up, and she proceeds to call her Sugar Plum or whatever, and that's where they take her to the vaults. And this is gonna be where you guys see in the preview where she's in her vault in her yellow dress. And yeah, personally, in my opinion, I am very interested to see what Hank's thought process is. What is his goal? What does he want? Because we kind of get these things in generic terms, but specific details are something I really want from that character. Is the ghoul alive? Probably. We still haven't got that one take slow motion capture. I don't know what you call it in Las Vegas with Maximus and everyone else. So we'll see what happens there. Overall, really enjoyed this plot line, and now we are going to go to the great pre-war timeline, and I gotta say, I'm very excited to talk about this one. So we cut back into the past. The Google was all super gloomy and stuff like that, and his flashbacks lead us to Las Vegas, where all the big companies are coming together for the sale of Cold Fusion, from Vault-Tec to Mr. House. And Mr. House, he's looking kind of spiffy, you know, but clearly, as you know, this isn't Mr. House, this is another person. So we cut to Barbara and Cooper. I was gonna say Howard, but Cooper and Barbara, and they're walking with Hank. Hank apparently has some interesting Vault-Tec thing on his arm. I'm assuming this is the Cold Fusion. It's handcuffed to his wrist so that no one can take it. And Cooper goes to answer a phone where Moldaver is there. We still got to figure out how Moldaver gets to the future, by the way. She's like, hey, look, you gotta kill Mr. House. You need to kill Mr. House. He's like, yo, look, I'm not gonna kill Mr. House. And she's like, you were in the army. He's like, it's not the same. She's like, it doesn't make a difference. So he's like, look, I'm gonna not kill Mr. House. I'm going to stop this whole plot point, or whatever you want to call it, my way, without killing anybody. But he gets to the hotel. It's very pompous. Las Vegas is like being Las Vegas, and I really like that. It's good energy, but the hint of gambling. And that congresswoman who was at the memorial presentation, or the memorial service for the veterans, is there protesting with the flag. I'll call it the American flag for now, but the American flag, talking about how this is a violation. There doesn't need to be any more money within the government. It's already being corrupted. And Howard is like, hey man, you fight the good fight, even though she might die or get blown up. So who knows? Overall, Barbara's like, hey, we gotta go inside. And Hank is sitting there with his Pit Boy. I didn't know Pit Boys were a pre-war thing, but overall, he's sitting there with the Pit Boy, with obviously the Cold Fusion in his hand. And it's just like, what prompted this to happen? But then we see Mr. House, aka the fake Mr. House. It's not his brother. It's not a random plot point that I was thinking. It's this guy, and he walks on up to Mr. House. Well, he walks on up to Coop, and he whispers in his ear. In his ear. Did I say here? I don't even know. I'm doing this at like 8 a.m. But he says, hey, Mr. House wants to see you. And immediately you realize, if you're a show watcher, this is clearly not Mr. House. We've met Mr. House several times. Also, we see Victor. And Victor is in the main apartment, compared to, or I don't know if this is Victor. This could just be another animatron bot. Who knows? But also, shout out Mr. House, man. He has a beautiful setup here. I only got 3 monitors at the moment. He has like 6 from counting. But he's like, hey, look, I know you're here to kill me. You weren't supposed to come on this trip. And the world's ending, and the world increased. Well, the world ending moved up 1 month. So assuming what I think is going to happen is that every action that Coop takes is going to move the end of the world up towards the actual date within the Fallout lore, but I have no idea. But it turns out to be like his daughter's birthday, and he's like, hey, look, I'm here to buy Cold Fusion. I'm here to adopt technology to help save the world, or at least Las Vegas in principle. And that's the Cold Fusion storage thing, which is interesting because that is in the observatory in season 1. So how did that get from Mr. House's apartment to season 1 observatory? But who knows? But Coop convincingly calls this guy crazy and like a fortune teller, and he's like, yo, look, I just do math. And he's like, yo, you're a lunatic, you need to be stopped. And the people who I were coming here for think you're gonna end the world. But he's like, yo, look, something's going on. There's obviously another player. The house always wins. It's not me. There might be someone else in the shadows working behind the table, being the house. And he's like, yo, look, I'm doing all this math. Something's going on. You are the center of it for some reason. We need to figure this out. Coop is just not having any of it, and it's kind of interesting because Coop calls him a goddamn lunatic. And you know what? He may be a goddamn lunatic, but he is sure right. Something is happening. The Enclave, if you know, I'll do a whole bunch of shorts on those. The Enclave is sitting around, but people are saying the Enclave wouldn't do this, but Coop is being bombarded with so much information, and I feel so bad for him because he is just being bombarded with like, hey man, I need you to know that the end of the world's happening. Your wife is doing it. There's also Mr. House who's buying up technology to survive and building plans, and he's just bombarded with a whole bunch of knowledge of just the world ending, and he's not really telling anyone, and it kind of spills over. Barbara's there to clean him up, and at the end of the episode he says, hey look, we need to talk, and hopefully we can see what happens after that. And I just gotta say, this was a great episode. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of shorts on deep dives of things I love, and that's pretty much all I can say, because you can't really, like, my sort of format of breaking down the timelines or the plot lines and breaking through them kind of doesn't allow much room for exploration and thought. Those will be in a second video where I talk about questions I have for the Fallout TV show, and in my shorts. My shorts are going to be a lot more thought-provoking and detailed, and we are going to be getting into those sort of maybe tomorrow. Well, I'm going to drop the video today, put the timeline out, and then obviously we'll see what happens over the weekend. I'll be dropping like a plenty of shorts talking about what's happening. But overall, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully you enjoyed the vibes.